are 2 games into the PBA Governors Cup semis, and both matchups have exciting storylines heading into tomorrow's game day. Now, joining us to talk about the upcoming battle is the Jet himself, basketball analyst and PBA legend, Jeffrey Gariaso. Coach Jeff, how are you doing?
Hey, Coach.
Good, Paolo. Hey, Diego. Again, always nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's always great having you here, Coach. And of course, with Diego here, we're going to ignore his Meralco connections at the moment.
You can talk about it a bit, Paolo.
Just a bit, yeah. But let's focus first here on Barangay Ginebra and the San Miguel Beermen. 2-0 in favor of Barangay Ginebra. A lot of people might be surprised with how the series is going, considering it has been a bit one-sided scoreline-wise, at the very least. What do you see in the series so far?
Right. So I'm seeing a difference in defense, honestly, and how both teams are executing. So obviously, when it comes to the playoffs, and especially in the semis, and you're going up against a very good championship-level team, you got to be on cue when your defense. So right now, it's Ginebra who's, again, being able to defend better. They're scrambling for the ball. They're getting after every loose ball. 50-50s there, and they're controlling the rebound. So I think that's the biggest factor on why Ginebra's up right now.
And Coach Jeff, let's talk about that start by Ginebra. They started off with an 18-1 start in Game 2. What did you see? What did they do at the start of that game, Coach?
Well, again, they generate their offense from their defense, and I think, people see the flashy plays by Jamie and the penetration by all their guards and the shooters, and see Stan getting his buckets, running the floor. But that starts from your defense, so that's really what I saw. Right now, I think San Miguel looks a little flat going into these last 2 games. But again, you do not count out a championship-level team also, because they're going to be ready in Game 3.
Of course, the guys that need to step up for San Miguel Beermen, a lot of people are going to be asking that. We've had a good offensive production from guys like CJ Perez. Chris Ross has distributed the ball well, 8 assists last game, if I'm not mistaken. You take a look at what's happening right now for the San Miguel Beermen. I'm sure there are a lot of adjustments that need to be made, but in your mind, what is the one adjustment that they need most in particular?
I think I'm going to stick to, my defensive mindset and stay there. I think ball screen and being able to defend that and have an actual scheme where you're changing it up, because in the playoffs, again, you have to be quick in your decision making. You have to be able to change it up. If something's not working, you got to be able to move forward and have another scheme in your pocket, because if not, that other team's going to eat you alive.
Barangay Ginebra scoring more than 120 points in the 2 games, and of course playing with a lot of emotion. Of course, we have to take a moment here for L.A. Tenorio, who has been present at the games, acting as an assistant coach, of course, still in his battle with the stage 3 colon cancer. So L.A., our hearts go out to you. But then you also see Barangay Ginebra playing with a bit more of emotion. Do you think that that's also a factor going into this, that they're playing with, I guess, a bit more fire, a bit more purpose than otherwise?
I think it is. I think with them, with the situation with LA, their teammate, their brother, their kuya, I think guys are coming out, extra motivated. Internally, I'm assuming that they're going to dedicate this conference to him. So just the fact that he's there, present every game, I'm sure every practice they're playing for him. But yeah, they're using that with, they're already experienced, good team to kind of push him up to the next level, and they're doing it.
And Coach, talking about motivation, let's talk about SMB's motivation. They're down 0-2 right now. I mean, in the brink of elimination in the next game. But you, as a coach, how do you try to motivate this team to try and make this comeback against a team like Ginebra?
Well, again, San Miguel is also a very good team. And I say that Cameron Clark is the perfect import for them. And I said that many times when we cover their games. I just feel like right now it's not just clicking for them in all cylinders, all at the same time. You get good performances from CJ, and Cameron's, doing his thing, but then you got to be able to kind of bring that together, and you got to have nights where everyone's kind of feeling good. And again, I go back to that, and I'm a broken record. It starts with defending.
Yeah, let's see whether or not San Miguel
especially in the playoffs, Coach.
Get the defense down pat. Of course, we'll now go on to the other matchup. And camera to zoom in, get Diego out of the frame. Because obviously, at the moment, we're going to be talking about the Meralco Bolts and the TNT Tropang Giga. 1-1 in the series so far. Coach, you take a look at what happened in game number 2. Blowout in game number 1. Diego Dario had 5 minutes in game number 1. That's how much of a blowout it was. But then, Coach Jeff, you take a look at what happened in game number 2. KJ McDaniel stepping up in a big way against RHJ. Aaron Black also playing really well. Just what did Meralco do differently? Because they look like a completely different team.
And they were a completely different team. So I'm assuming Coach Norming and the staff really got on the guys for, I guess, the energy and how they started the game in game 1. Whatever the reasons were, whether they were a little tired coming off that last game, whether they were shocked with how well TNT started the game, it really doesn't matter. But the bottom line is they woke up in game 2 and they took care of business. And it started with how they started the game. They're energized, guys are performing at a high level, and you could see it in them that there was a different team from the get-go.
And just to add to that also, I mean, I totally agree with Coach Jeff, because it's not even a secret anymore. I don't have to hide it, that in the playoffs, you need energy and effort.
Yeah.
And, I think in Game 2, that was the biggest difference compared to Game 1.
Well, it's going to be a crunch game 3. Of course, the TNT Tropang Giga did not shoot the ball as well as they did in the first game. Of course, they were just lights out in game number 1. How do you see game number 3 shaping up now that it's all even again and Meralco have a bit of their bearings and TNT now have time to adjust?
First of all, I think it's going to be a wonderful game 3 because both teams now they're at even. It's even, obviously, and them wanting, TNT wanting to recover from a loss. They also had their chances. So regardless of how well Morocco came out and sustained that throughout the game, TNT, I felt, still had their chances to win during that game. So they know they were close. I know there's a couple questions with a couple calls, but again, it's part of basketball.
Right.
It could have gone their way easily and it'd be 2-0. But again, I expect TNT to be ready. I expect Morocco to come out and bring that same fire from the beginning to set the tone.
My own personal question here, since we have time for one last question, is whether or not Aaron Black could keep on firing the way that he is. Jago has said so much about Aaron off the air in a good way. But Coach, you take a look at, he had a bit of a coming out party in the finals against Barangay Ginebra in the past. And here he is right now continuing that. I don't think he's ever going to reach his dad's numbers, to be fair. But what do you make of his recent play?
I'm really happy and proud with Aaron because he's really coming to his own. He's understanding now what it takes to be successful in the PBA. And his confidence is at an all-time high. You just see it, and when you're watching him, it just looks like it. He's more composed, he's playing with it himself, and he's understanding what's expected of him as the starting point guard. So yeah, I expect him to just keep going, and he needs to understand also that his play is crucial to the success of Morocco.
28 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists in game number 2 for Aaron Black. Coach, we're not done with you yet. We have a lot more to talk about.
That's right, because after the break,